Hey everybody, my name is Paul Lesden Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com, baby. We're here in the middle of the offseason, but before we go any further, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe down below for more fantastic, spectacular, juicy, if I may, New York Jets content. We got a lot to get to here on the show because we're going to talk about a blockbuster New York Jets Green Bay Packers trade proposal. Aaron Rodgers is back on the horizon. I'll also address all the people out there that argue against the Aaron Rodgers trade. More on that here in just a moment. But the interesting news with this, before we get into the trade, is the news from Diana Russini earlier today. Again, where we're recording this, we're doing this video here on a Wednesday. Earlier today, Diana Russini of ESPN reported that the Jets were currently meeting as of that day, today, on Wednesday, with former Denver Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett for their vacant offensive coordinator position. I know right off the bat, a lot of people are like, ugh, Nathaniel Hackett, he just got fired and was absolutely terrible in Denver. And that's completely true. However, I will say this, that sometimes in life we meet people who are better in their role. Sometimes they want a little bit more. They want to be promoted. They want to get an opportunity in that job. Then they realize, you know what? I was just better doing what I was doing before. Nathaniel Hackett as a head coach is terrible. And again, I know Nathaniel Hackett from here covering Syracuse football when he was here with the Orange, and in his role, he's fine. But once he gets beyond the role, that's where things get a little spicy. And I think he learned a very valuable lesson from that standpoint. So, as a head coach, absolutely not. As an offensive coordinator, I think there's something we can work with here, and especially since Nathaniel Hackett's resume as a former offensive coordinator with the Green Bay Packers for 3 seasons, 2019, 2020, and 2021. What happened in those 3 years? Aaron Rodgers won back-to-back MVP titles. The Green Bay Packers as a team won 39 games, and the offense is putting up juggernaut numbers, which takes us to today's point that perhaps the Nathaniel Hackett recipe, the ingredient of him potentially being the new OC for the Jets, could unlock the keys to the Aaron Rodgers Jets franchise. Now, you guys can read down below in the YouTube description is an article where I talk about this Jets Packers trade I'm about to get into. There's more details in there. We'll try to get to as much of it during the video as possible. But if you want to read along as we're doing this, feel free. The article link is down below. And here's the trade. I saw it from Lombardi Ave, which is a Green Bay Packers site. And they said that the Jets get Aaron Rodgers. Okay, you get your quarterback in exchange for 2 first-round draft choices. Number 13 overall in this year's draft 2023 and a first-round pick in 2024. Now, some of you right now may be driving off the road or listening to this and immediately stopping, immediately not listening anymore because you'll think that's disgusting. How the hell could the Jets give up not 1 but 2 first-round draft choices for a 39-year-old quarterback? And I get it. On the surface, that's a lot. That's expensive. And quite frankly, as a trade draft guy and everything, I would be doing everything in my power to try to lower that asking price of 2 first-round picks. I've seen a variety of Aaron Rodgers deals proposed over the last couple of months, a first and a second, a first and a first, and some other combination. And maybe you could get it a little bit lower, especially considering all the crazy money and where the Packers are at and the lack of success of veteran quarterback trades recently. Matt Ryan comes to mind. Obviously, Russell Wilson comes to mind and things of that nature. Carson Wentz, there's so many of veteran quarterback trades that failed, and maybe that can overall lower the asking price from an NFL league perspective. But putting that aside for a moment, even if it is 2 first-round picks, consider this. If you're the Jets and you're constructing this roster, if you execute that trade, you automatically have QB1. That's Aaron freaking Rodgers. Again, a guy that's been back-to-back MVP. I mean, the stats speak for themselves. I mean, let's just read them to you just in case you forgot. Again, Aaron freaking Rodgers here. Here are those 2 seasons, not including this one, obviously. He had a 71% completion percentage, 48 touchdowns, 5 picks. 48 touchdowns, 5 picks, 4,300 yards. Spectacular. Then the second of 2 MVPs was a 69% completion percentage, 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Again, also MVP. I mean, he's spectacular. Also an All-Pro and Pro Bowler in both of those years. Now, this year, obviously, there was a drop-off. The team overall was 8-9, not great. They did not make the playoffs. His completion percentage dropped to 64%. His touchdown interception ratio was not great, 26-12, better than a lot of Jets quarterbacks, but I digress. But the numbers weren't what they were. Now, some of you may look at that and say, well, that's because Aaron Rodgers is over the hill. He's getting too old. To me, That's not what I see. If you watch Aaron Rodgers tape this year, you could see the throws, the cannon, the arm, everything is still there for Aaron Rodgers. But I think really the situation it got destroyed. No more Devontae Adams anymore. Some questionable offensive line, some injuries, of course, injuries all over the place, quite frankly, and a defense that had some moments where they really were not very good. Let's just be blunt. I think Aaron Rodgers still has a ton of gas left in the tank. And if he goes to a new location, I think you will see that unlocked. And perhaps a change of scenery can be exactly the spark he needs this late in his career. And as he joined the Pat McAfee show this week, a couple of clips. First off, he said that he still believes he could play at an MVP level in the right situation, potentially opening the door for all this trade talk of potentially going somewhere else. Number two, he said the only reason he will come back again, he has not announced that officially, whether he's coming or going, but if he comes back, the only reason he's coming back is to win a Super Bowl. That's got to be music to Jets fans' ears, because not only have the Jets not been to the playoffs for 12 years, by the way, which, again, how much worse can it get? I need to go after Jet fans for a second that don't want this Aaron Rodgers trade. And any quarterback, deal that we brought up, Derek Carr, Lamar Jackson, Jimmy G, all of them have faults in some way or another. And I've heard Jet fans say it. Lamar Jackson, too many injuries. Jimmy Garoppolo, too many injuries. Derek Carr, bad in cold weather, and all these other excuses. At the end of the day, can we beggars be choosers? Can we nitpick? I mean, all of those options I just said would be massive upgrades for the New York gosh darn Jets, baby. And at a certain point, let's bring up this Aaron Rodgers trade. And you could see with the Brett Favre Jets picture, Aaron Rodgers picture, and again, it would be kind of crazy. Then in 2008, the Jets traded a conditional pick to get Brett Favre, and the season started off great, but it ended horribly. The 8-3, but ended not making the playoffs. Though a lot of Jet fans are afraid to make this trade again, especially in this particular case where it would cost a lot more in theory. And a lot of people said, oh man, what if it goes wrong? What if it goes wrong, Jet fans? We have missed the playoffs for 12 freaking years. We can only go up from here. This is what I would respect from a Jets perspective. If they picked up the bat and swung for the fences, which is what Aaron Rodgers trade is you are swinging, you're going for it, baby. You're going for the jugular and said, enough is enough. Let's freaking try to do something here. If you swing and miss, you still keep missing the playoffs as you've missed the playoffs anyway. If you don't do anything and you have some combination of Zach Wilson, Mike White, Chris Streveler, Joe Flacco, you're not going anywhere anyway. So you might as well get off the mat and freaking give it a whirl, baby. Try to give it an attempt, the old college try. So for some of the people that are pushing back on the Aaron Rodgers thing, talking about attitude and this and that, I don't know, man. When a quarterback's talented enough, you will give him leeway. We knew that with Brett Favre when he had his own office and the parking space and all that crazy crap way back in the day. Well, guess what? The Jets were winning games and we didn't give a flying hoot. Okay? I don't give a flying hoot. He can have whatever he wants. Let's try to win. Let's try to freaking have a higher standard. Aaron Rodgers is a spectacular quarterback, and he would be amazing with the gosh darn New York Jets, baby. Can you imagine Garrett Wilson catching passes from freaking Aaron Rodgers, Breece gosh darn Hall, and then you have that defense, which we talked about. If the Jets would have been average on offense, scoring 20 points a game, they would have won 11, 12 games this year. Aaron Rodgers can score you 20 gosh darn points a game when you have a talent level of this standpoint. So, again, if Nathaniel Hackett delivers me Aaron Rodgers, sign me up, baby. I want it. I want to go all in. There's a lot of sexy quarterback options that we've talked about over the course of, the past couple weeks and months. Aaron Rodgers is a name that titillates my juices. He's a guy that revs my gosh darn engine, baby, and I'm ready to go all in. I'm ready to be aggressive. That's what Robert Saleh said at the quarterback position. Joe Douglas and Woody Johnson all said we're going to be aggressive as heck at the quarterback position. If Aaron Rodgers wants to come back, I'm calling up Green Bay, and let's try to find a friggin' deal. They can move on in their own direction. The Jets can get a long-awaited QB1 who would have a chance to just be a special kind of player. He would immediately become the best and most talented quarterback we've ever had. A multi-time MVP, multi-time Pro Bowler, and an absolute superstar. One of the best quarterbacks of this friggin' generation. So, guys, enough with the hoopla. Let's be willing to get hurt again. Let's be willing to make a freaking move. and I would be all for it. By the way, on the Robert Saleh and Nathaniel Hackett connection, they first met each other and were together with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So there's even a connection beyond the random Aaron Rodgers stuff, which, by the way, I am fully on board with. I'm willing to make a move. And Connor Rogers, by the way, on the NFL Stock Exchange podcast, the clip's too long, but you guys can check it out on my Twitter account. He believes that the Jets can be the Aaron Rodgers destination. And if he was picking a place not named the Packers, I really do think, quote, the Jets are at the top of that conversation. And again, I'm all for it. The Jets are among the betting favorites to land Aaron Rodgers. It quite frankly makes too much sense not to happen. So let's go all in and let's make a deal, baby. Let's get froggy. Guys, feel free to check out the Jets-Packers trade proposal down below. Let me know if you're in or you're out. And hopefully this conversation we just had pushed you one way or the other if you were potentially on the fence, because it's time to freaking go, baby. And hopefully a lot of you feel in a similar way. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, like the video, hit subscribe down below. We'll have some more content for you guys coming up this week as well right here on the Boy Green YouTube channel. Thanks, everybody.